Born in the UK to Ghanaian parents he never knew, raised by an Irish and English couple searching for a place to belong.
I was left in the care of an Irish and English couple in the UK.
But one miracle discovery changed everything. An address, a journey, a home waiting in Ghana.
What was the mindset that shifted you to connect to Ghana?
My understanding of home has been a real journey, my pursuit of home. I grew up in a very loving home, so much love, and I didn't look like anybody in my family. I had come from a position in the UK where I had debts.
You were debt in London.
Yes.
And you came to Ghana.
Now Kweku is helping the diaspora return to their roots with his organization Awoo. Awoo is home.
What are some of the elements do diasporans miss or overlook when they are in Ghana?
There are many. I think that perception that you can land with the same ways that you function in where you've come from and be able to make things work in Ghana. The biggest opportunity is to learn. When you go to the Cape Coast and Elmina, it's our community members that give you the Asafa Warrior Tour. So it's not the same experience that other tour operators will give you. This is somebody who's going to teach you about the resistance, teach you about our ancestors.
So we do have Kweku in the building. Kweku, it's nice meeting you here in Ghana.
Hey, we are home, Akwaba.
Awoo is home.
Hey,
so they
please answer my Akwaba. You know I only know 5 words in Tree, so please answer my Akwaba.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yes, yeah.
You have been out a long time.
No, but I mean, I'm so Ghanaian, authentic Ghanaian.
I know.
You know that.
Very
So,
authentic.
Kweku, I mean, this whole discussion that we're going to have is something that is dear to my heart. And I know it's dear to a lot of my viewers back in London and in the US, in the Caribbean. I have a lot of my friends who want to come to Africa. But most of the time I go like, you know what? I'm not an expert in that. But I do have a great personality who has walked in that journey, helped a lot of diasporans settle here in Ghana, doing so much work with his organization, Awoo. Yes, Awoo is home. Kweku, you created Awoo as a means of pursuing your life vision. Tell us about what's the vision and the role Awoo plays in the journey towards it.
Big question. Ish. Yeah, so Awoo is, I would say Awoo is home.
Yeah.
And the vision for Awoo is 1 million. Well, the vision for Awoo actually is everybody experiences home. That's the simplistic vision. And the big goal is 1 million change makers experiencing home. Our concept of home really comes out of my own life journey. I tell my story openly that, you know, I was born of Fanti parents, of Ghanaian parents in the UK. I was left in the care of an Irish and English couple in the UK. And through life, I lost contact with my Ghana family. So my perception and my understanding of home has been a real journey, you know, my pursuit of home. I grew up in a very loving home, so much love. And I didn't look like anybody in my family or in my neighborhood or in my community. So I have a lot of experiences of feeling different or looking other or not belonging. And those weren't even intentions of the community, but they're experiences just because of who we are. And what I realized is that my story is specific, but when I talk to other diasporans, most of them have stories that match that, you know, that are aligned with that can relate to my own story. People having experiences of displacement, people having experiences of not belonging, people have experiences of not being accepted, or even of being sidelined or attacked for being different from everybody around them. And then not knowing where they're from, you know, and many people, I'm blessed, you know, in my journey took me to my mom finding me through the Salvation Army, reconnecting with my Ghana family, meeting my father at 26, you know, and all these things, and reconnecting with my culture and my family. So for me, that's been the reality. Others out there, they are the children of enslaved Africans. So they don't necessarily know exactly who their history, you know, where their history goes back to. People are doing different kind of genetic tests, like to find out more about who they are and where they're from. But that experience of not belonging or not knowing, you know, where you're from is something very universal among many diasporans. And so my journey to experience home, I felt, and I've noticed, is something quite universal among many of the diasporans that I meet. People relate to the story and really want that support to connect back to the source, back to Africa, back to their origins.
Okay. Kweku, you grew up in the West, right? And you decided to connect to Ghana as a diaspora. What was the mindset that shifted you to connect to Ghana?
I actually, it was funny because I had in my head, as a 17-year-old living in London, you know, I went to London from the countryside, you know, became independent at a young age. In my head was like, I don't know where my mom is, but I'm going to search for her in my 20s. Like when I'm settled, when everything's sorted, I'm going to go and find her. And then of course she surprised me by finding me. And so the shift for actually connecting back home was natural. It was that experience of, oh wow, you know, suddenly I realized I have, you know, my mom, my younger sister had written a letter in that same letter that, you know, that I got. My younger sister, aged I think 13 at that time, was writing about her big bro, and I was like, oh my God. So for me, there was this real yearning to meet my family and to go and stay in and understand really where I'm from.
Okay.
There were more shifts once I actually finally did come to Ghana.
Okay.
But the initial shift, I think, was quite natural. I really was, you know, touched and moved that my mom would reach out and find me.
Yeah. We met in 2016. And from your lifestyle, it seems like you were born in Ghana. You were, I mean, going with the flow, doing like how any local Ghanaian will behave, walking on the street like at night, using your bicycle, like you accepted Ghana like your home, like somewhere that you've lived all your lifetime. But I know that you did face some challenges, and I want you to outline some of these challenges, because sometimes when people look at videos of diasporans moving about, up and about, they think everything was easy. So people come with that high hopes that, like, I've seen Kweku just riding on his bicycle, moving up here and there. Did you face any challenges when you started living in Ghana?
Yeah, I think there's loads of different ways to come back, right? I mean, I've watched so many different people enter Ghana to come here and stay. You know, there's something called the soft landing. You know, I heard an interview with Elikem Kuenya talking about the soft landing, and you know, he as a corporate man coming back into Ghana with a good job. And that's one way to do it. You can get yourself very much set up with your specialism, land back in Ghana with a job that has a home and a good income attached to it, and therefore, and also a circle around you. Maybe if you're actually already Ghanaian, you have your family around, and it gives you a softer landing. I have my family around, but I had come from a position in the UK where I had debts and I was not in a good financial position. So I came from landing in Ghana, staying on the floor of a family member, and started to build myself through
No, you were
network
debt
marketing.
in London.
Yes.
And you came to
Yes.
Ghana.
So I came, you know, some people come with this pot of gold and, you know, everybody's like looking for the pounds sterling in their pocket.
So
I
you came with debt.
minus and then needed to find my way. And my wonderful cousin, Anna, put me up in Sakumono. She also linked me. She was the PA to Sam Jonah. So she had these great links and she connected me to good people, and I was able to then begin to build from literally the ground up.
So it wasn't like someone coming in with lots of money, because at a lot of times we have this whole mindset that if you come to Africa, you should have billions, millions to settle.
Oh
But this is a good, what do you call it, example that we can let people relate to. It doesn't mean that you should have all the money in this world. Your personality alone can thrive.
Oh yeah, know yourself.
Yeah, know yourself.
For me, I was not happy in London at that time. I wasn't happy in the UK at that time. And there was this connection I found with Ghana when I came down. I came in 2012 and I did 2 pieces of work. I did a peace building project, pre-elections peace building project for Interact Ghana, youth organization. Okay. I came down to work with my good friend Kofi Deborah. He had a festival in the Western region, Asabako, and me and Alexander
Asabako in the Western region.
In the Western region, in Busia.
It was Beach.
Yes, and me and Alexander Sultan and
You're bringing some childhood memories, because I used to go to what you call Asabako when I was young.
Hey.
Yeah.
2012, me and some 2 awesome friends, performers, Alexander Sultan and Nandi Bebe, performed there, and we did a community outreach and some work. So those 2 pieces of work made me understand Ghana from a different perspective than the visits before. And that gave me a kind of bit like, I think I have something here that I can do. There is something tangible that I can do in Ghana. You know, landing, and then the reality on the ground was that some of those things that I would have done to A, make money in the UK, and B, my specialism, which is of course my background is learning and development, were not already so common or so central to the needs of Ghana, and I found it difficult to find my niche. So for me, it was about finding other ways to actually connect and actually create a foundation here. But as I say, you know, it depends on you as an individual. Sometimes somebody can land with, you know, all the money, and I've seen that, I've experienced it. People land with a lot of funds, but actually they lose a lot here quickly because of not really having a grasp of how things work here, and then quickly return. And I've seen that version. I've seen people arrive with very little and build. I think the benefit that I've had of like arriving with very little and building is I have very real relationships, you know, and I built Awoo. I was 140 members, 90 members in Ghana. And those people have come with me on my journey, many of them from 2016 like you, and have seen me build to the point where we have a space and we have a community, we have the opportunity for people to thrive within our community. So there's authentic relationship, not people who've been trying to get my pound sterling, which weren't available at the time. So it's a benefit, because of course, like you said, if you are wealthy, or you're not even wealthy, if you are quite solid in you are earning in dollars here, many people may see you as an opportunity, not as an individual. And then that's, I think, understandable, and it can make it harder to discern who are your friends and who is just in for the opportunity.
It's good. It's good. We are all Africans, but what are some of the cultural gaps between the locals and the returnees?
You're making me smile already. There are many, and I think it depends also on people's reality. Like, for example, if you are an African American, if you're a Caribbean, if you're British African, if you're British African first generation, second generation, there's so many different ways that people ended up in the diaspora. There's so many different routes.
And I use the word African because it's African American, African British. That's why so it's generalized.
I love that term, One Africa, because it's the truth. You know, at the end of the day, we all come from that same root. However, our experience where we've grown up, and our experience of our ancestors has a massive impact on how we now experience Ghana when we return. I've noticed that, you know, and of course, for somebody whose ancestors went through extreme pain and loss and, you know, atrocities, when returning, there may be expectations of some level of understanding, acceptance, and belonging. And of course, for many of our people here, that experience is not present in the everyday today. We're not always thinking about the enslaved Africans. We're not always thinking about what that has done to generations of their descendants. We may be thinking about now, the here and now, what we see on the news, what we see on TV, when we see Beyonce and Jay-Z and you know the Kardashians or whoever living out these very lavish lifestyles. We might expect that when our brothers and sisters come home they're just coming to bring us gold.
Yes,
they come to the Gold Coast to bring us gold.
Yeah,
you know, and I think that
I think we should, as what you call it, locals living in Africa, appreciate that people are returning back home because of, I mean, the history behind this whole slave trade was not something that we can ignore as Africans. So I always say, if we are dealing with our returning, we have to give them the level of compassion, the empathy, you get me? Because they made a bold decision to return back home, which is something that is remarkable, and we should appreciate that bold decisions as locals living in Africa.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I think with, I mean, your question about the gap in terms of culture, I think it's really massive for many. You know, if we think about the kind of classic elements that make up culture, you know, whether that's about our work, how we relate to our families, how we relate to our family structure, what's important to us in terms of how faith-based Ghana is. You know, Ghana being, you know, a Christian foundation with a strong Muslim community as well. The church and the mosque are really central. And obviously, if you're coming from a secular society, that's not necessarily the case. Even though you may have your religion doesn't sit at the center of you, especially not at work or in other settings. Whereas in Ghana, it's very common that people would pray at the beginning of a meeting or at the beginning even of work. And even if you're not a Christian, you would engage in that. You know, these things are really different, and they're really kind of, for some people, very challenging. Because of course, you know, many people have so many different beliefs. I think also just very simple things like our infrastructure make a huge difference. You know, that the idea that in London I could just walk out my house 10 minutes and jump on the tube and be miles away within, you know, 30 minutes. Whereas here, you know, if I can't afford Uber, I've got to jump on the trotro, I've got to ride my bicycle, I've got to jump on an Okada and ride over the most crazy roads to get where I've got to go. Otherwise, you know, I can find myself getting, you know, very detached and isolated and not be able to really function well. So I think those are massive. I think also I mentioned the family unit. You know, a lot of kind of families in the West operate really around their nuclear family. And I've, you know, now obviously gotten married, have a little boy, my in-laws live with us, and then the extended family, my parents, and then, you know, our cousins, and, you know, we operate much more as a wider, collective. You know, of community and family. Whereas in the UK, a lot of times people do operate quite in units, and that's very, very different. And separating work from family also here can be difficult.
Kweku, I mean, you are an experienced diasporan, and you also have helped a lot of diasporans settle here in Ghana. What are some of the elements do diasporans miss or overlook when they are in Ghana?
There are many of them.
There are many.
I mean, largely I would say it comes down to the values, the culture, the infrastructure, and then I think also just identity. I can start with the infrastructure. I think the people underestimate what a difference having structures and systems makes to everyday life. If I can get up knowing the time my train leaves the station and I have a good sense of when it arrives, the way I structure my whole day is different to when I wake up, and I know that once I step out the door, kind of anything can happen on the road. you know, that there is not a kind of order in that sense to even how a city or a town moves. In fact, at some points, the order that you do know is, for example, at Accra between 6 a.m. and 9 doesn't move much. So you have to be able to factor that in. And I quite enjoy jumping on the motorbike when that happens, but not everybody does. So you may have to leave your house at 5 a.m. if you want to be on time and use that time differently. So I think the concept of time is a massive one. And it's one of the things that I had been, you know, had been a big issue for me when I first landed. People laughed, you know, being a facilitator and managing time for, you know, organizations who deliver workshops. You know, I would be a stickler, you know, you need to be here by this particular time. And I would be there and the rest of the team would arrive maybe 1 hour, and then some 2, some 3 hours after, and there's a production or there's a workshop or there's something to do. And I just was like, to get myself to the place where I could get a system of some kind where we could land on the same page was a real challenge. And I think a lot of people do face that when they come in from the diaspora. Also, just the importance of family is huge. You know, in many more secular societies, we've moved to 2.4 children or the nuclear family. You know, and now, you know, I'm blessed. I've had my family here, my little boy, my wife's parents live with us. My own parents. You know, my cousins. The wider extended family are so important in Ghana culture, and I think it's important that people get that. When they come, and also how age or generations are perceived. I've had friends from the diaspora in my age, in their 40s or early 50s, and when an adult young person comes up and calls them daddy, they're very offended because they're like, "Hey, do I look old?" And you know, not knowing that that's actually a sign of respect for an elder, and that it's just part of how things work.
Or uncle.
Or uncle, exactly. So I think the respect.
Or auntie.
Or auntie. And auntie. And then respect is huge here. I think you know the politeness is very, very important and key in the Ghana culture. When meeting and greeting, I just loved it. It's one of the reasons why I'm here, because you know I think it rubbed off on me. Either it's it's an ancestral thing that I just had that from being a Ghanaian, or it's a northern thing because you know I'm a Liverpool-born, raised in the south. And in the south, I know a lot of, especially in London, a lot of people will just be minding their own business, and you get on the train or the bus, and you're minding your own business.
I think those culture played a role.
Massive, because for me I just felt so at home. Everybody greets, you know, I can just smile at anybody and they'll greet, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, you know, it's the same, you know, it's really, I think it's powerful. And I think it's the person who comes in wanting their own privacy and not wanting people to engage with them will struggle and be seen in a certain way. You know, you'll be seen as somebody who's not nice or not kind. If you're not engaging with people politely. And then religion is such a core part of being a Ghanaian. Like whether that's a traditional religion, whether that's being a Christian, whether that's being a Muslim, religion is really at the center. And know that your religion or the way you approach religion will have an impact on how people see and perceive you. And that's huge. And how I navigate that is massive as well. Because we know that people are at church and they have all sorts of beliefs, but the church is also a culture. So people navigate the community or being in relationship or in community by the way they move in different communities and different circles. Perceptions of your lifestyle can be massive. I'm a yogi. I love my yoga. And in my church, people thought I was a Hindu because I do yoga. And, you know, I'm just like, I had to kind of...
It's for meditation, I mean.
Just people. I mean, I wouldn't say,
you were Hindu.
Try yoga, come and
I'm not Hindu.
I didn't even want to...
It just gets me. So what are you doing in church? What are you doing in church?
You know, but it was brilliant. And and so just knowing that these are some of the perceptions and ways people work. You know, being in the marketplace and how people will manage their prices. You know, you and your accent. It can play to your advantage or to your disadvantage.
Yeah.
You know, me with my 2x4 tree in Medina Market. Sometimes I get friends and fans, so they'll reduce it for me.
Yeah.
Sometimes I will just put it up. My wife will come. What are they giving you from? You know. So,
sometimes your wife have to go like, don't talk.
Absolutely.
I'll do the negotiation.
absolutely. And you know what? That's another massive one is gender.
Gender.
Yes, you know, like in the West, of course, and it's not exclusive now in Africa too, but I think perception of gender or sex as in male, female, and everything in between in Ghana is really massive. You know, like the roles of the wife or the woman, the roles of the male and the man and the father, you know, are defined. The roles of the elder, those kind of structural roles in society are really important. If you misunderstand them and don't respect them, you'll run into problems. You'll definitely offend people, and you definitely won't be seen in the same way.
Okay. So Kweku, the president of Ghana, John Dramani Mahama, made the Diaspora the 17th region of Ghana. That was just December. I know a lot of diasporans have come, and some made certain mistakes that couldn't allow them to stay much longer as they wish. What are some of the mistakes do diasporans make when they come to settle in Ghana?
There's two big things there. I went to the Diaspora Summit.
Oh,
yeah, and it was beautiful. I have, you know, a really good dear friend at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Yeah, okay.
And you know, she kind of encouraged me, like, oh, you know, are you going to be there? And you know, sent me an invitation, and I was like, okay, cool, I'm definitely going to be there. And I had also my dear friend Chief Moomin was called at the last moment to take his company there to perform.
Okay.
And so there were two big reasons for me to be there. I hadn't really fully researched what it was going to be. I sat in that audience, I was blown away. You know, my diasporan brothers and sisters, you know, developmental chiefs, all in their kente, and, you know, business people in their kaftans and fugus, and our people just looked amazing. And Mahama stepped on stage, and, you know, he brought in some of the culture, some of the, you know, children's songs, and had a call and response with the audience and all of this stuff. And he made this statement, you know, that, you know, the Diaspora are now the 17th region. And it was huge. There was a big cry in the audience from it. People were really moved.
Great.
So, you know, kudos. And I think it's massive. We want to know, obviously, more what that means in terms of legislation and what that's going to mean in terms of how
Probably,
we function.
I'm thinking more of like giving Ghanaian passports to since it's the 17th region, they deserve, they deserve a Ghanaian passport to be able to work do business, own lands, properties, and other things. Because in actual sense, they are part of us. It's history that's displaced some of them. So I think it's a good direction that he made mention that is the 17th region of Ghana.
Yeah, I love it. I love the concept in terms of that mobility and that homecoming, that welcome. But the question you asked in relation to that was
the mistakes.
So you may have that opportunity to be in Ghana, but what mistakes might send you going home? Yeah, I mean, I think that, again, it could be a bit linked to the last question. You know, I think that perception that you can land with the same ways that you function in where you've come from, and be able to make things work in Ghana. The biggest opportunity is to learn, you know, come use the first period of time just to sense things out, just to ask, just to inquire, just to be like a sponge and really understand. I recommend people do go to church, go to mosque, you know, be engaged, go to the market, be in family, even if your bloodline is not clear back to Ghana. You know, let a family adopt you, you know, be in family. And Awoo is that. We say Awoo is home. You know, you can, through Awoo, be connected to 90 families. And we do a naming ceremony with the Trampon traditionals over in the central region. And the Pra family are like our extended family. You know, Nana is just this incredible traditional drummer and cultural historian. and his son Kobe is like become a brother to me. And when we take our diaspora brothers and sisters there for a naming ceremony, I always get moved because you can feel that the guy who runs the ceremony, that's Nana Bomba, has truly accepted them as part of the family. And I think that is one thing that you can avoid the mistakes when you actually ground yourself in a family that has, you know, really taken you on and can teach you and can also have time for you, can respect your different to them in terms of your understandings. That's where a way to avoid a lot of the mistakes. But my expectations, I think, the mistake is to have big expectations or have expectations. Just let them go and allow yourself to learn and receive.
Okay, cool. A lot of diasporans has showed me certain opportunities that for me, even as a Ghanaian, I did not know. But nevertheless, there are some diasporans that also overlook at certain opportunities that exist in Ghana. What are some of the opportunities that you think diasporans can leverage on so that they can make their stay here in Ghana more better, or more, not even more better, more comfortable? Or
I think there's one of the things that's, I think, classic good business. I mean, I am a creative. I really know that the business aspect of the world, I always have collaborators because that's not my specialism. My specialism is being able to create together, build community together. But what I've learned from my business experts is problem solution. If I'm going to complain about everything that's in Ghana, I'm missing a trick. Because one thing, anything I'm complaining about is an opportunity to create business
out of it.
Yeah. So if you're complaining about what's not here,
if you're complaining about your food not getting here, create a ride or food app that will bring your food closer. If you're complaining that, oh, Zoom Lion is not picking your rubbish, go get a contract.
Right, exactly. You know, I was thinking about this. I'm wearing, you know, a Ghanaian designer. I don't have my caveman watch yet, but I can buy a Ghanaian watch. Can I get a good Ghanaian sneaker at the moment? You know, if I want to, you know, buy good toilet tissue, are there really good Ghanaian toilet tissues? You know, are they? If I want to enjoy, you know, a Ghanaian phone, can I get one? You know, like these are the things where wherever I go, I actually want to buy Ghana, wear Ghana, eat Ghana, live Ghana. So I think that, you know, wherever there's a gap is an opportunity to create business and invest. Certainly, I think there are core things that people forget and people can really lean into. That's definitely agriculture, real estate, education, and then of course, you know, all the areas like transport. That's a massive one. I don't know what our president has planned, but there's so much scope in those areas. But yeah, people, I think, instead of looking at what's a problem, look at what's the solution, and you will find business opportunities, micro ones up to massive ones.
Kweku, now let's go to Awoo. I know Awoo is doing a lot of work when it comes to diasporans with you, hosting some at your hub, taking them for your naming ceremonies, which is very, very important. I appreciate you, and I will say congratulations to you for that. I saw some of your videos, and I almost cried seeing my fellow diasporans going to take their native names. What are some of the services that you provide for Awoo? Because I know a lot of my friends would like to come to Ghana, and this is the time that, guys, you need to stay connected to Awoo because Awoo is home. So what are some of the services that you provide for diasporans?
So at Awoo, we do say Awoo is home. We have our hub in North Legon. So when our clients come over, we do a series of Zoom meetings before. So if we've not met them before, we have time for them to meet the community. So we have, for example, my wife will jump on, or like members of our team will jump on, and they can ask them all the different types of questions they can ask. They can ask them questions about culture, language, customs, and definitely they'll get a chance to look at all the places they can visit in Ghana. But also through having the discussions, they start to build relationship, start to build community and family before coming.
Okay.
When they land, we do an Awoo welcome, which is one of my favorite parts. You come into the Awoo Hub, which is our family home, where we have one room and then we have a partner who's a guest house across the road. You come in and we have our drummers, our dancers, our artists, our chefs make an experience for you of home, of Ghana. We have an Achami who will actually address you and give you the opportunity.
That's a culture, that's a Ghanaian way of welcome.
Exactly, and a storyteller, the musicians.
Wow.
And you're going to be
home.
You'll be home.
Yeah.
And then from there, you're set up. We give you a bit of a cultural, orientation, and then you're off. Someone like Nico Wayo, you've been able to have the pleasure of meeting him.
Yeah.
He's our director, our arts director, and he takes them on a tour of his works around Accra. Some of them, if you come by yourself, you get to ride on his motorbike with him even. So Accra tours are taken by our community. When you go to the Cape Coast and Elmina, it's our community members that give you the Asafa Warrior Tour. So it's not the same experience that other tour operators will give you. This is somebody who's going to teach you about the resistance, teach you about our ancestors that actually fought against the colonizer, and take you to the castle and be with you when you go through what can be really traumatizing, challenging, when you hear that history and you're in the space where your ancestors were kept and held. We take you to the Nchinchi Museum, which is by our brother, which is the museum created by our brother Kwame Kotobamfo. And he has just been such a supporter of Awoo, and what he's created over there is a symbol of what's possible when our people truly connect with their heritage, their history, and the talent and skills of this age as well. And then, of course, our background, learning and development, wellness, and the arts means that we can hold people in an experience of healing. People get the chance to do yoga, look at local herbs and local plants and plant-based healing, food, plant-based food as well. Members of our community are leadership of the Vibrant Vegan Society, for example. They connect to the Soil Association. We're part of Ghana Youth Environmental Movement. So there are a lot of people who want to make a difference in the world, and we give you a window, we're a portal into doing that from Africa to the world. People can connect here and do real estate projects. There are people in our community who do real estate, building, construction, architecture. There are visual artists, in the community if you want to do arts and performance artists. So really, any bigger vision you have, you can start with building a relationship and experience in Ghana, and then we help you project forwards to your vision, create goals, and then build a family and a team around your goal so you can make it reality.
I know this year you have a major project coming on in October, which we are going to talk extensively about it now. If you want to experience Ghana on an easy lifestyle, try other months, and he chose October as the perfect month. And let's talk about the October whole initiative that you're coming up with.
Return to the Source. Return to the Source in October I'm so excited about it. We've got new partnerships with tour curators, one from Canada, one from the US. Yvonne, the travel lady from Canada, global linkages in the US. And they have both inspired us that, we have a wealth of resource that people can access Ghana through. And so we are going to work with those tour operators to co-curate experiences in Ghana. And we've decided that we'll also host our own. And so in October will be our first ever.
What about UK? Are you still looking for partnership in UK? Because you did mention of Canada and US. But
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, these are
Okay.
people who reached out to us.
Okay.
So we're open to partnerships all
From
over the world.
UK,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, 100%.
yeah. So operators in UK, you can also.
Yes, please
Yeah.
reach us. We are really open. You can have a really unique experience
Yeah.
by collaborating with
Yeah,
us.
yeah.
But Return to the Source is exciting because it's a culmination of all that we've been doing quite informally with our friends from the diaspora. We've built it into a business now. So you can really have a 14-day experience in Ghana, which is going to involve some of the sites that I've explained before. And there's a run-in, which gives you a chance to begin to connect to the community you're going to spend that 14 days with. And then there's also a chance for you to really build your vision, have an understanding of what the experience is going to be like, land in community, experience Ghana, be part of the community, have your Akan name if you don't already have one, and really begin to put your roots down. Because what could be more amazing than building a legacy in the African continent within a family that are going to take care of it for you and they're going to help you to nurture it, water it, and help it grow. So we think with Return to the Source is going to be a healing experience. We're going to have yoga practice, we're going to have dance, we're going to have people connecting and understanding the traditions, drumming. We're going to definitely let people meet all our artists. Those of you who are into dance and movement and visual arts are going to be just leaving with such a stunning experience. We're going to go to Ada. You're going to experience how the Millionaire Mansion people live, on this side of the estuary over there. I mean, it's going to be extraordinary. And then we have bolt-ons, add-ons for those who want to stay longer, a Northern experience, a Bono experience, a Western region experience, an Eastern region experience. So if you want to stay for a month, we have the capacity to support you to do that.
Yeah. Okay, we are ending this whole interview. What advice will you give to diasporans who want to settle here in Ghana? You can look into your camera and just advise them.
Please, my patro, always home, come home. But in all seriousness, build relationships. Relationships are anything. Even if you might come with a really good bank balance, good business sense, and a lot in your favor. If you don't have the relationships, it will not really mean very much for you for a sustainable long-term life in Ghana. Focus on the relationships, build those relationships, and have those relationships inform or support you to get a deep grounding, a deep footing in Ghana, and then come down and build within the community.
Yeah, thank you very much, Kweku of Awoo. Awoo is home, guys. I mean, where can they also reach you? I know the social media is on the screen, but some people also want you to say so that they feel parts of it. So, let them feel part of it.
So we have an amazing apprenticeship. So our current apprentice is amazing at the creating the reels and things. So you can go on our IG. That's at Our World Life. You can go on our Facebook, Our World. We have LinkedIn, Our World. My LinkedIn is Kweku Aacht. And then we have a website, ourworld.com, www.ourworld.com.
Thank you very much, Kweku, for coming. Yeah, it's nice to be important, but very, very important to be nice. And Kweku, bye.
Hey,
so from us,
go again, let's go again.
From us, we do say bye. Remember to subscribe, like, and comment. We've had a great discussion, so comments, whatever your thoughts about this whole topic that we've had, just comment.
A Studio 88 live Ghana production